How it was born? Yeah. Well, the new album is called Beauty and Crime, and many of the songs are about New York City, and which is where I live. And so a lot of the songs took place in New York City after 9/11. So after 9/11 happened, many fans and journalists were asking me what's happening in New York, and I started to write some of the songs to respond. And very slowly, the album came out in that way. The new ones. My favorite of the new songs, I have to say, is Pornographer's Dream, which I just love the feeling of the song. I love it's kind of got a sensuality about both the lyrics, the melody, and the arrangements. The strings, I just, it's one of the ones that I listen to myself. And I like the meaning of it, too. It sort of says that what's really sensual is not the flesh, but what's more spiritual and kind of what's behind the flesh and what's behind the reality. And I like the idea of that. Yeah, well, it seemed to me that Frank and Ava, we're talking about Frank Sinatra and Ava Gardner, and everyone knows about their love story, but also how difficult it was because they were always fighting with each other, always arguing with each other. A tremendous amount of love, but also just not able to live together, not able to stay married. And it seems to me that's a very human story and something that happens all the time. You see this with couples where they love each other, but they can't even eat a meal together at the same table. So I thought, this would be fun to kind of write a little story, a little song about this kind of relationship. I met my label because I was telling a friend of mine of the kind of album I wanted to make. I wanted to make an album that mixes sort of the classical music with the strings and clarinets and flutes, and I wanted to mix that with a more modern sound. And she said to me, that sounds very interesting, and maybe Blue Note would be interested in meeting with you. And so we had lunch, and everything went from there. Well, I have to say that maybe 6 years ago I would have said no because they were mostly jazz, and I'm not really a jazz singer. But I knew of Blue Note. I knew of Blue Note as a jazz label. So when I met with them, I said, "Are you going to expect me to turn into a jazz singer?" And they said, "No." They said since the success of Norah Jones and the fact she sold millions of records, that they are happy to think about expanding the kind of artist that they sign. Well, I love performing. I love performing for an audience. I love playing the music. The traveling can be difficult, not so much in France because I think you know how to live in France. It's the small pleasures of life are very close at hand in Paris. That's not true with all the countries. But so I love the performing, and if I could find a way to perform without all the traveling, I would love it.